Here are some tips that will help you get an eclectic collection going of things that are really interesting and how to find those really good records in amongst all that rubbish. Here at the Gameroom, we've been collecting vinyl records for over 5 years, and I don't like to buy new, like as in brand new, vinyl very often at all. What I like is the cheap stuff, and I like to try and get my collection going from those places like op shops, which are thrift stores in America, markets, all those places where you can get those low cost records. When you go into these thrift stores and places, it can be really easy to find stuff like I have over the years. Stuff like Johnny Cash, Jerry Rafferty, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Billy Joel, Stevie Wonder, Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, the Eagles, Blood, Sweat and Tears, Traveling Wilburys, Dire Straits, The Who, Cat Stevens, Elton John, Bob Dylan. All of this stuff that I've just shown you has been found super cheap. That is from years of collecting. But the stuff that I've just shown you is easy to pick out of those groups when they're there. So like when you've got a collection of records and you're in a thrift store and you see one of these, you know it straight away. It does happen. It doesn't happen very often with those big names, but over a span of years, it's sure to happen. What you might not be very confident doing is finding the really eclectic stuff and the stuff that if you don't know the artist or you don't know what the cover doesn't grab you automatically, or if you don't know the name of the album itself. Here are some tips that will help you get an eclectic collection going of things that are really interesting and how to find those really good records in amongst all that rubbish. I've got a big collection of these eclectic records, and I'll pull them out and I'll show you some of those things that I did to find these records as we go. So I'll show you a bunch from here, there and everywhere. Here's one. Band name Familiarity. If you find a record that, it doesn't matter how generic it looks, like this one here is super generic, and I couldn't think of who George Baker's selection was. I couldn't think of any songs that have been made, but the name kind of twigged with me a little bit. I got out my phone and I quickly looked up George Baker's selection. Now, as with a lot of these type of pickups, I don't like to sit there with my phone for very long. It takes forever. So I'm quickly jumping on. I'm just going to the internet. I typed in George Baker's selection and I found very quickly that George Baker's selection had a song on a very famous Quentin Tarantino movie called Little Green Bag. Straight away when I heard the name of that song, which isn't on this record, I could hear that song and I knew a little bit about what I was in for when I picked up this one. So I'd heard a song name from them before that I didn't think of before I Googled it. But it's the name that twigged for me and I went straight for that. If a name twigs, look it up. You might find that they are familiar to you in another way. You might find that there is something that really hurts your ears and you don't want it, so you can pass on it very quickly. Here's another thing I look for. So I look for interesting album names. So this one is called My Name Means Horse. It's super weird. So all of a sudden I'm drawn to that and I want to have a look more into that. And once you open it up, you even get some really strange kind of artwork in one like this. And I'm like, yep, I need to have a look at that. When I look it up on my phone, the artist name, I find out that Ross Ryan is an Australian. Automatically I'm interested in because I live in Australia, so I like to get those Australian artists. And it comes up with that Ross Ryan does folk music, which is something that I really love. So finding something from an interesting album name, looking up those interesting album names is a must. If you've got a favorite instrument or a favorite style of music and you're looking for instrumental type music, as in music just for that doesn't have any singing, sometimes you will find pieces or albums that have that instrument that you're looking at. So straight away here, I am drawn to this one because it has banjos on it. So Mountain Banjos is the name of this one by Joe Clark and the Mountaineers. Because these records are really low priced, the ones that I'm showing now, it's worth a gamble. So here I saw that it had dueling banjos as number 1, and I'm super interested in it, and I'm like, yep, I need to have a go at that. So that one is one that I picked up straight away. Of course, these tips don't always turn out exactly how you'd like them to, and here's one that looked amazing. Same type of thing as before with the banjos that drew me to it straight away. Freddie Morgan, bunch of banjos. I was hoping it would just be banjo music, but there are a heap more instruments in this one, and it turned out one that I don't like as much. Because I'm buying them for low price, I've got 2 here that looked interesting to begin with. Only one of them was good. I paid at most $2 for these. From memory, I think it was 2 and 1. So for the price of $3, I've got one record that I really, really love, and the other one, I can do whatever I like. Donate it back, and somebody else can pick it up. Various artist albums are not something that I particularly like to pick up in vinyl. There's not a lot of them that I will pick up these days, because when I first started, I picked up lots of them, and I found very quickly that when I turned them on, I didn't like the change in complete mood, that it goes from one song to another and it completely changes everything about the genre of music almost from lots of them that you are listening to. So I don't particularly like that. But I've found Jimi Hendrix there, The Who, Bee Gees. So straight away there are big names on those. As soon as you see those really big names like Jimi Hendrix, they are ones that even if it is a collection or a various artist collection of hits, it might be worth having a go at or having a look at as well. I had a look at some of the songs there on the back, but I was pretty much ready to buy that one straight away. So don't skip on all your various artist stuff. If you're getting a really low price and there's a song or two that you like, it might be worth grabbing those ones, even though, as I said, typically I don't go for the various artists. Here's a various artists ones, another one that I did go for, just because of how strange it presented. So this one piqued my interest because it had that super strange kind of artwork. It's kind of a bit funkadelic type stuff that can sound, it can be very extreme in terms of sometimes I like some of this type of jam stuff and sometimes I hate it, but I thought, oh, it's worth a look. The title, as you can see, I can't pick out what that is. It says mystery something. So all of a sudden you need a different way to look these up. So we'll look at the back, see if anything pops out at you, but in this case it did not, but we have some of that weird type of artwork again. So even the bottom here, I can't, what's that say, a gape jam tree? I'm not sure. I looked up some of the things that I knew. So I looked up mystery, I looked up some of the titles, and then eventually I found this one on Discogs. Because Discogs had a little write-up of it, then all of a sudden I thought, yeah, that sounds like it might be worth a go. Turns out that this is not as kind of out there as it seems. I'm pretty sure this is religious music, but it is interesting music, and that's what it's all about today, giving you those tips to find those interesting albums and interesting artists. This is an interesting album. This has interesting artists. It is something that is outside my normal wheelhouse of music, and I picked it up again for a couple of dollars because I did those things that I said. I found that it was a weird album artwork. I looked up the little bit of the name with some of the title names and the artists on the back, and was able to find more information that way, kind of piecing it together. This one would have got left behind in the op shops because of those reasons, because it is hard to look for, and now it's mine and it's in my collection. Here are some that, again, are a little bit out there, so ones that I completely knew nothing about before I picked them up. Gilbert O'Sullivan himself, Tom Rush, Wrong End of the Rainbow, Stefano, is that Giamaresi? Stefano Giamaresi, maybe? Might be how you spell that. These ones all kind of piqued my interest for slightly different reasons, but the way that I went about deciding if they were right for me was the same. So this one kind of looks like a bit of a rock record. This one, with one artist on there that I didn't know, was worth a look because I hadn't seen anything. It's not like a Kamal that comes up in our record, or a Tom Jones, or a There's heaps of them out there of Arj Bilka. If you see those artists that are in the thrift stores again and again and again, you probably know that they're not for you. But when you see those ones come up, like these one name people or these two name artists, sometimes they are worth looking up as well. These albums that I have here either said that they were, when I quickly looked them up on my phone after seeing that they were something of interest, I found that they were either rock or folk, and I was happy to give them a go. And all of them turned out to be really good records. I don't always get a hit, but when I'm buying such low price ones, if I find something like this that I think, oh, that might be a folk record, that might be a rock record, that's my personal interest in terms of the stuff that I like to listen to, I'll pick those up and look them up. Here's something strange that might pique your interest as well. Almost always when a vinyl record is signed by the artist, it means that they are a local artist of that area. That is almost always the case, especially if they have a to and then the name of somebody. It means that they're either there, they bought it at the time when the person was there, or they've gone and got it signed at a signing, and it's normally a local one. So this one here, John McOslin, I saw that on the back. I thought that is worth a look at just because it's been personally signed to a personal person with their name. And so I looked this one up, found out that it was folk music of an Australian artist. All of they're just there with folk and Australian artists. I'm in. There wasn't much information about that one other than those things, and I grabbed that one straight away. Here is one of my biggest tips to finding the best records. And this would be a tip not just for Australia where I live, but for all over the world, which all my tips are. But this one, even though I'm talking about something quite local, it works anywhere. If you can find a record that has a little sticker, sometimes and quite often they are round stickers, like this one here, but not always. Sometimes you can find proper, almost shop-like stickers, like this one here, but they are second-hand stickers, as in they're being sold as a second-hand album somewhere along the line of this record's lifetime. So if you find those little stickers that indicate that this was sold as a second-hand record, that is a dead giveaway that that album might be something special, and it is definitely worth checking out. So here's a sticker there that says that it was from a local record market, and it was one, it's a store that isn't around anymore, but straight away I've seen that it's from something local, and back in its lifetime it was sold for $6.99 second hand, and so I picked that one up and have a look at it. For $2, even once I found that type of sticker, if I wasn't able to look it up on my phone for some reason, if I didn't have the internet or if I just don't have the time to do it, it's worth a gamble if I found one of those stickers. Not every one that has a sticker like that, a second-hand sticker, will be something that is gold, but you know that you're on the right track. A lot of them will be worthwhile records. I did have the kind of leisure to be able to look this one up, and I saw that it was synthesizer music, and I thought, yeah, I'll give that one a go. Tell you what, this is one of the best finds. It is probably, along with the banjo record that I have, this is my favorite instrumental music with the banjo, and they're completely different, and it was just that sticker that kind of led me to looking at it. Although this one does have an interesting type of artwork as well. So it's hidden those tips that I'm giving you. It's got an interesting artwork, but it also has that little sticker on the front there. So it was really worth looking up. And boy, am I glad that I did, because that one is a cracker. This one, though, here's the same type of sticker. This one's a $3 record that I found, but it has a $6.99 and says something about, normally it's a condition. It'll have like EX, like excellent, for excellent condition, or EC for excellent condition, things like that, or NM for near mint, or M for mint. They have all these types of kind of code on there, but you don't need to know the code, because that was a long time ago when it sold probably. If you find one of those little stickers, just like these ones here, it's worth looking at. So when I brought this one home, after finding that sticker, purchasing it for the $3, all I had found out that this one was a rock album. But when I got home and did more research, I found out that this is one of the backing musicians for Bruce Springsteen. So I was wrapped with that. I like Bruce Springsteen just from that little sticker, and you can find great records from those secondhand stickers. Doesn't always turn out that way though. Here's one that has been sold for $1.99. I bought it for $3. This one's the shirts. When I got this one home, I found out that it is a punk band. I thought, you beauty, that's one of my favourites as well. Normally 90s onwards punk. I played this one. I don't really like it. I reckon it's more to do with pop than it is punk. But yeah, it doesn't always work out in your favour. But I bet I could flip this one for a lot more money than I paid for it. Or swap it over with somebody else or give it away as a gift. But that little tip about those secondhand stickers, either the little circle ones, or you might find ones that look like a store sticker, or you find them written on. When you find them like that, they are worth grabbing. If they're super cheap, and even if you can't look them up, they're worth the gamble. Sometimes I pick this one that looks very generic for the day. This one's called Mammy Blue. It's by Hugo Montenegro, but I did not know who Hugo Montenegro was. When I flipped it over, I did see the photograph of this person with their headphones on, and I still didn't really, none of this caught me. So the front doesn't catch me very much. The back artwork didn't catch me very much. What I did do in this case, and what is definitely worth looking out for, is you have a look through the track listing if you find something very quickly. Okay, I've found Peace Train, and I'm thinking that's probably Cat Stevens' Peace Train on there as well. And then I can see what else is on there. Fiddler on the Roof. I Feel the Earth Move. There's some songs that I know. I'm finding too many of them to think that it's anything but those really popular songs. And then I was kind of, my interest was piqued. And then I had a look at it. So I was able to bring out my phone after that, quickly type in Mammy Blue, Hugo Montenegro. It was quite tricky to find much information about that one when I was in the op shop, but I did find out that this person makes movie soundtracks, Hugo Montenegro, and thought that was worth a go. And it has some really good pieces of music on this one, really good compositions. I'm glad I did look it up. There's that tip. The only reason I picked this one up and had a good look up it was because I knew some of the song names in there. Another tip that I have for you is hype stickers. Now this one isn't technically a hype sticker. Hype stickers are those types of stickers that you see where it says that it contains a special song, or it contains the hit song, or things like that. This one's actually imprinted on the actual cover itself, but it contains Do Your Thing. So I didn't know what Do Your Thing was, but because it had that kind of hype sticker, sometimes they are an actual sticker, but this one is not, or normally they're an actual sticker, this one is not. Because it had that, it was worth a look. I had a quick look through the songs in the back. I saw I Can't Get No Satisfaction. Papa's Got a Brand New Bag. And then, as I said, it had the song Do Your Thing on it. I didn't know what that was, but I knew some of the others. I thought this is well worth grabbing. I'm so glad I did. This is a really fun and really great album, just from finding that little hype sticker and looking more into it with the track listing. Here's one of those times where I've seen some of the songs on the front and I have recognised some of the songs. So Long Tall Sally there, A White Sports Coat. Was familiar with the names of the songs there, but not really. I couldn't really listen to any in my head, so to speak, except for this Long Tall Sally. It was worth picking up and having a look at more closely. So I brought out my phone, I looked up Marty Robbins. I didn't find too much, but what I did find was that Marty Robbins had been one of the artists in the Fallout New Vegas video game, because video games are one of my passions. It is something that then caught my attention because of that, and I picked this one up. I like some of this stuff on there. What it did lead me to as well, because I had found that first kind of interest, it did lead me to this one later on. This one was the actual Marty Robbins album that has the song from Fallout New Vegas on it. So this one, even though it did not have that song on it, I still liked some of or a whole selection of songs on this one. And then I thought, well, I've got to be on the lookout for that Marty Robbins song that actually is from a video game, and found that one later on. So that was kind of an interesting way to go about finding music that I had no idea of, and I really like this album. There you go. If it has an association to something else that you know, worth having a look at. Sometimes you'll find a collection of albums where you'll find one that looks interesting. It might have one of those features that I've talked about already, where it has the record store sticker that the record's been sold as a second-hand record. It might have one of these ones that has an interesting piece of artwork. It might have one of those names that really stands out. It might have something that I've spoken about already, or something completely different. You've picked out one and you think, yep, this is for me. Now I'm going to dig through all that else is there. Make sure if you find one that you really like, and you know that it's one that you really like because you've picked it out for one of the reasons that we've spoken about, or something different, and you're like, yes, I found this great record. Don't stop there. That is when you get your dig on and you go through each and every one of those records. Here I found one with a really interesting cover. It's just got the L on the front. I had to look around for a little bit more to find out some more information. I found Godly Cream, and it's going around the cover. I still didn't know much about it. I had to look up what is those two words, Godly and Cream. Found out they are two of the people who are in 10C, the band 10cc. I like 10cc. I've already got their albums. I quickly grabbed that one. Kept digging, found another one. You Beauty, that is a great way of getting albums. So I got that one as well. I actually found a Christopher Cross album in there as well on that stage, and I found a bunch of others. The person who has dropped in this one that caught my eye for that reason, with the strange cover, I didn't know who Godly and Cream was. I didn't know who Christopher Cross was, which might come as a bit of a shock. But I grabbed those 3 records and some other ones, I'm pretty sure, on that day as well, just because of one of those tips. So when you find one that you like from one of these tips or otherwise, dig. Get your dig on and dig through all of them, and make sure you check really carefully at that point. If you have the time to sit there and look them up, look up those ones that you don't know, because chances are the person who donated one of these has donated more than one album at a time, and if you found one great one, there's more great ones to be found. Alright, this tip here that I'm about to share with you is a bit of a time-consuming tip, but it may be one that helps you out. We've spoken before about looking at interesting covers. We've already spoken about having a look at any tracks that you know. This one has quite an interesting cover. It didn't have any tracks that I know. But here's something that you might be able to do. If you flip over and you find the lyric sheets in there, sometimes they also come with the artists that have played on that song or on the album. So you might find some things that you know from there. To be completely honest, I found this piece of information after I had bought it, because I looked it up on my phone and decided that this person was somebody that I wanted to have a listen to further. So it was when I got home, but when I got home I found this, when I was having a quick read through it, I found James Taylor on one of the tracks here, and I really like James Taylor, and so that was another reason why I thought, oh, that's a beauty. But if I had seen that in the store, that I have, that an artist that I really like has worked on this, then that is something that I would definitely jump on as well. Here's a tip that I used to use that I no longer do. I don't have a digital subscription to music anymore. I used to have access to YouTube Music, and I had the app on my phone. So when I was in these stores that I was looking for albums, I was able to have a look at the artist and bring up the artist in YouTube Music, or whether it be Spotify or anything else that you might have. Even in YouTube, in the free section, if you have the time to be able to look one up that you think, oh, I'm not quite sure about that artist or about that cover, that looks interesting, that name looks interesting. If you look that up in one of those types of digital places, and even if you don't have your headphones with you or anything like that, although that is handy if you do have your headphones to bring them in. If you don't have them, if you keep it low and just hold it up to your ear, nobody else can hear if you've got it right up to your ear and nice and low. But you will get a feel of that type of artist's music or that album's music, and you might find something that's worthwhile. Here's another one where I've read the front: Best of the Hollies, Greatest Hits. Sometimes the Greatest Hits record is also an indicator of an album that's worth looking more into. I saw Greatest Hits there. I didn't know who the Hollies were when I was in the store, but I saw Greatest Hits. I thought, oh, I'll have a look at the track listing on the back. Had a look through there. There's one that I wasn't able to miss, as in I saw it straight away and thought, yep, I know exactly what that song is. He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother. Big hit from many years ago, but I knew it from one of the Rambo movies, I think Rambo 2, and so it was a sure thing. So sometimes the greatest hits will lead you down a path where you can find out more about a band, whether it be looking it up on your phone or whether you find something else that piques your interest. It is worth looking at greatest hits albums just for that reason as well. We're getting to the end of my tips that I use for finding these eclectic records. These are not eclectic records, but here's a tip that might help you out as well at finding some greats. It is worth looking for or looking through records that don't have a cover. So here's one that I looked up in store and found that it was A Night at the Opera. This one was actually from a pawn shop, not one of the cheapies, so it had a $10 price tag, but $10 for that one that was all by itself, even without its cover. I thought, yeah, I am happy to pay that and just stick a track listing in there myself. But here's one that was a really cheap one, and I've just put it in a generic sleeve for now. So Electric Light Orchestra. This one is in poor shape, but when I was flipping through, it was worth grabbing, even though I don't have a case for it, because it is one that I'd pay a lot more than $1, the $1 or $2 that I paid for it, if it had that case. Just judging by the artwork there, Electric Light Orchestra, I think the people who were working in the shop would have suspected this was worth money if they had seen the outside or the cover for this one, because it's a bit different. And so it was worth grabbing just by itself, even though it doesn't have a case, just chuck it in something else. I'll also, sometimes what I'll do, if I find a record that is all by itself and it doesn't have its case, like this here is Elvis's Elvis Golden Records, which did have its record in there, but I had found as well another Elvis record along the path that didn't have its cover with it, so Elvis in Demand there. I just chuck them together, so that way if I'm picking up in my collection, if I want to play something Elvis, it's got the other one in there, and even if I didn't remember beforehand, if I'm in the mood to have a listen to some Elvis music, I'll bring that one out and like, oh yeah, there's that single or that one without the case, and I might give that a listen to as well. So don't always look over the ones that are kind of out by themselves without a sleeve. It is a good way to find cheap, really good records as well. The records that I've shown you today are just a small selection of records, the eclectic records that I have found from using those tips that I've shown you. It is really worth having a think about those tips when you're in these shops and trying to use the information that I've given you or that other people give you on YouTube to look a little bit deeper into stuff that you would not have otherwise. I have found so much really exciting stuff when I've got them home and chucked them on the turntable, stuff that I would not have found without kind of picking up those tips as I've gone. And as I said, for me, they're unconscious now, and I use them without thinking about them. But hopefully now that I've verbalized them in this video, they'll help you out as well. So hopefully you have a good find at the stores next time you're there because of these tips. And thanks very much for watching this. If you like this, then join me on the journey, and hopefully I'll release something else that you like very soon. Or perhaps I already have, and all you need to do is look through those videos that I've already made and to find something interesting. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time on the Game Room.